And good evening and welcome out Team Tackle. This is Coach Frank from Tackle Trading here to take you through the Tackle Trading website this evening, show you around a little bit, let you know a little bit about us, let you know where you can find things, when you can find things, so you have a better idea of what we're doing over here at Tackle Trading and how you can incorporate it into your own routine. So welcome out everybody. As we kind of get rocking and rolling, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them for you. I've got my assistant Tan helping me on that front. But I will do my best to get those answered for you here this evening. I'll break our presentation down into three areas. Like I usually do, we'll kind of talk about the things that you can do on your own, courses, blogs, some of our tools, things that you can do with others, basically the schedule, what are our shows, when are these shows, what do we do to get into these shows, and then lastly our weekend reports. At the end of the week we always put together scouting reports for our team going into the upcoming trading week. So we'll kind of take it kind of from that perspective, one leg at a time. Very quickly though, before we do, I would just like to highlight very quickly the Huddle podcast. Every morning you will find the Huddle on your favorite podcast providers, or if you're like me, you can just click on the Huddle button like I did right from Tackle Trading. That'll take you to the Huddle podcast. Hit this little play button and you can listen to the daily podcast. It's just a short podcast talking about the top 5 stories of the trading day, so you can kind of be aware what's moving the market, what's on its mind very quickly, easily, and effectively. Really good stuff. Certainly would give it a chance. You can find that on all of the major providers, but you can also, if you're as technologically inept as me, listen to it right here on the Huddle. So that's each market morning that Huddle will be dropped out. It's always a nice way to kind of hit the top of the news cycle without having to dive too deep and get a lot of biased reads on that. So that again, that is the Tackle today. Let's kind of start here with our courses this evening. Well, before we do that, let's kind of just talk about what Tackle Trading is. Really, it's just a group of traders that have come together to share ideas and help each other out. We've got traders from brand new, have never done it before, to been trading for a very, very long time, everything in between. We've got forex traders, cash flow traders, directional traders, you name it, we've got it. And we all just it's just nice to have a place where we can kind of get together, bounce ideas, share what's working. If somebody doesn't know how to do something, show them how to do that something, whatever that particular thing might be. Really, that's all it is. It's just a group of traders that have come together to help each other out. And I'm glad you had taken an opportunity to take a look at Tackle Trading. I think you'll find it to be a really fun place to call home as a trader. Trading's one of those conversation pieces, right? It's either want to talk about it or you don't. There's not a lot of middle ground. It's people I talk to who like to talk trading with me. Oh, we can go and go and go. But the people in my life who don't trade, they don't want to hear it. Well, hey, my team members at Tackle Trading always got my back on that side. So we'll dive right in to our courses here. We do have a handful of premium systems. We're not going to focus too much on them, but really quickly to let you know what they are. They're put together systems. They're a one-time purchase. The system is yours for life. We get together once a month with the members of that particular team in a mastermind group. If you want any more information on these, you can hop over into the store. You can send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. But just very quickly, so you know what they are, the Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system. We put together a particular group of stocks each year with the mind of selling covered calls against them. We can do other things, and a lot of us do, but really the Tackle 25 is meant for selling covered calls. Our step system is our swing trading system, standing for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Our cash flow condors, another cash flow system on the Russell 2000 index, and the bear market survival guide, protecting our portfolio. So if when we get into a bearish market, we have some protection, building upon that when we're in bearish market conditions, profiting in those conditions. Like I said, we're not going to focus too much on these, but just wanted to take a minute to let you know what they are and where you can get a little more information on them. As a pro member, these will be the only things that are not available to you, as these 4 systems. Everything else from the courses, our shows, all of that stuff is going to be available to you as a pro member, including the 7-step guide to trading. This is just a kind of I always kind of think about it showing the Tackle Trading way. As I said earlier, we've got a ton of different traders of all sorts in here. And so I don't think any of us do everything exactly the same. But I do think we share a kind of a foundational approach to the market and to trading as a whole, building our portfolio, designing our trading systems. I do think we share that in common, from starting at the top of the market and taking that top down approach into choosing the strategy to match our read of that situation, finding trades in that area, prepping and placing those trades, of course, managing and journaling those trades. This course will really kind of help you have an idea of what the tackle trading approach is, if you will. If you're a veteran trader, you might get a couple of ideas that you can incorporate into your personal routine. I think it's definitely a possibility there. If you're a brand new trader and are struggling with that side of things, like many brand new traders do, it can be a really good place to kind of start so you can build a little bit of repetition, build a little bit of routine, which is so important to us in trading, just like everything else in our lives. Beyond the 7-step guide to trading course, you'll find the technical analysis 101 course. As traders, charts are very important to us, right? They're telling us, what's the stock doing? Is it an uptrend, a downtrend, sideways trend? Is that in a short-term downtrend, but a long-term uptrend, right? It's telling us, where, our stop losses could potentially be, where our entry points and target prices would be. So we need charts as traders, right? And I think every trader would agree with that. The better we are at technical analysis, I think the better we are in all aspects of our trading. And so we always, want to strive to be just a little bit better, right? No one's ever, as far as I know, been 100% on their technical analysis, but that doesn't mean I can't strive to be just a little bit better this week or this month or this year than I was the previous. Great place to start. If you're newer to the markets, you got to get to know those charts, in my opinion. Chart first, then worry about the strategy side of things, is always my personal view of learning the markets. You'll also find an options 101 course. In here, we're really going to discuss, what's going on when you buy or sell that call or put contract. Not just the textbook definition, but options are a lot different than stock for a lot of reasons, right? But one of the things with stock is it's very straightforward, very cut and dry. If I buy it for 50 and sell it for 51, I made $1 a share. Whether it took a minute to get up to 51, a day, a week, a month, 6 years, whatever it is, it went up $1, I got $1. That's how stock works, right? Options is going to be different than that. There's going to be a lot of things that are, influencing the price of that option, from movement in the underlying security to time decay. Every day that passes, that option is losing some value to time, to volatility. How is that impacting that contract? So we really need to get to know these contracts and why they move the way they move, and what those Greeks or those factors are that move the price of those option contracts. The better we understand the contract, the easier I think it's going to be for us as we get into the strategy side of the options world. Definitely, if you're newer to options, or if options have been something you're interested in, take some time, go through the options course, get to know those contracts. It will, in my opinion, it will really make learning the strategies a heck of a lot easier. If you've ever been interested in learning more about either the futures or the currency market through Forex, we have introduction courses into those markets as well. I've talked to many traders over the years that simply didn't get into those markets because they felt they were too big for them. And I know not everybody's going to feel that way, but I never want anybody to feel that way. If you don't like to trade Forex, you don't like to trade Forex. That's fine with me. Trade what you like, but I don't want you to feel like you can't trade Forex. These courses are designed to kind of introduce you to those markets. What are the things that are going on? Those are leverage markets. So how does that leverage work? So if you've ever been interested in learning a little bit about either or both of those markets, great place to start in the Futures 101 or the Forex 101 course. Regardless of what you're trading, stock, options, crypto, futures, whatever, we need to have clear rules and clear systems in place. I think we all agree with that. It's one thing to say it, another thing to do it, though, right? Most people, I don't think, naturally think about trading from a systematic perspective. We just kind of think of, oh, I like it, let's buy it, or I don't like it, let's sell it, right? That type of stuff. And we, of course, got to do better than that. The System Development 101 course is really designed to help you train yourself to think about your trading and your trading plan and building your trading rules from a systems developer perspective. It really makes your life a lot easier if you have clearly defined systems that you use over and over, that you trust, that you believe in. Hey, this one didn't work out. I still believe in my system. Do it again, right? And I think it's a lot like a light switch, personally, at least for most of us. That once we kind of start thinking about our trading in that light, it just that's just the way we think about it. I don't think we could turn it off if we tried. I can't highlight the system development course enough. No matter what else you like to do, we do have to have clarity in our systems. It's just if we want to be here for the long haul, it's one of those things that we need. This is a great course. Coach Christian put together a masterpiece, in my opinion, in helping people learn how to put together trading systems. So definitely would highlight the system development course wherever else your other interests may lie. Not everything is going to be a course. We do blog content each week and each month, whether it's Tales of Technician, where we're talking more charting, taking concepts kind of from the ground up with Coach Greg over in the Rookie Corner, more on options in the Option Theory blog, hearing from our awesome female community over in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be relatively short reads, but very much worth checking out. Just another easy way to share ideas, hopefully lend a helping hand from time to time as well. They'll be short reads, but very, very much worth it in my estimation. Whereas the Options 101 course is really going to focus on the option contract, our strategies are going to be over here in the Trade Center in the Tackle Trading Playbook. This is where you'll find all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. We do break our strategy selection into three areas: Delta, Theta, and Vega, based off of Option Greeks. Delta is movement, direction. So a stock trade, that's a Delta trade. Buying a call option, that's a Delta trade, right? So when you hear Delta, at least from the playbook perspective, we're kind of talking about movement, the movement side of, I think the stock's going to go from 70 to 76. How can I play it? Well, Frank, you could buy the stock, you could buy a call, you could do a bull call spread, you could do a bull call diagonal. I would choose a strategy that I felt fit the situation the best, right? So that's going to be the Delta side. Then on the Theta side, that's our cash flow. The cool thing about options is we can sell them and take advantage of that time decay, bring in that cash flow element into our trading. That's going to be things like selling covered calls, selling naked puts, selling credit spreads, selling iron condors, basically selling the premiums, bringing that capital in up front and taking advantage of that time decay. And then there's the Vega, or the volatility side. I always call this the little brother of option strategies, and maybe that's just me, but this is going to be bidirectional. Hey, we're kind of coming towards the tail end of an earnings season right now. We've seen some pretty good moves, right, up and down based off of stocks beating or missing those earnings expectations. These are the type of strategies that would fit into that type of a marketplace, where I don't know that the stock's going to gap up a lot or gap down a lot, but maybe based on its history, I do suspect it's going to do one of those two things, put together a trade that reflects that, right? Or maybe the market thinks it's going to move a ton, but I'm thinking, well, why are you guys thinking that, market? I think you're dead wrong. I'm going to bet against you, right? So these are going to be based off of the volatility, how much the stock is or is not going to move, and not the direction that the stock is going to move. In each of these, we'll have a video going over, what the strategy is, why we would choose the strategy, what our rules for the strategy are, as far as how much time, how much delta, all of that fun stuff. Where we would kind of put it on the scale, we again, I've said it a couple times already, but we want to match the strategy to our view of the situation, right? And that's kind of what this +2, +3, -1, -2 is, kind of on a scale of -3 being aggressively bearish to +3 being aggressively bullish, 0 being flat neutral. Where do we kind of see this strategy fitting in on that spectrum, right? So you might be really bullish on Coca-Cola, but I'm just kind of bullish on Coca-Cola. We very well might choose different strategies because we just have a little bit different read of the situation. Even though we're both bullish in our example, you're just more aggressive than me. Hopefully we're both right? So that's what we're doing. There's a little PDF download, so you have easy access to those rules, a little bit of a cheat sheet, if you will, as you're kind of refining and kind of setting to memory, I guess, all of the different rules for all of these different strategies. So that's going to be the playbook. Once again, that's here in the Trade Center. Also in the Trade Center, you'll find a link to our trading glossary, a link to our trading journals. We'll talk about them here again in a minute, as well as a link to our events calendar. As we get into the schedule, we'll probably come back here one more time, but the events calendar will just have kind of, hey, what's the schedule? What's going on today? Where's the links to get me into it? The stuff that we're doing, here at Tackle Trading for our pro members, we're doing through Zoom. Of course, we do a lot of stuff over on YouTube as well. So, it's pretty easy to find. Hey, what's the schedule looking like? Oh, I want to join this show and get right in. But we'll probably come back to this one before we are done. If you go directly into the Trade Center, this will kind of take you to a What's Up at Tackle Trading page. What's our next show, our most recent posts, most recent report, most recent tweet, a little watch list that you can build for yourself. So if you want to have easy access to a watch list when you're at Tackle Trading, very easy to do. You would just throw in whatever you wanted. Say you wanted the healthcare ETF, XLV. I'll just throw it into the chart. I'll just select it by left clicking. That'll highlight it blue here. I'll hit the plus button, and now this will add this to my watch list. If I come back later today or tomorrow, this will still be here. But if I do decide, you know what, I don't need it in here anymore, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of UXLV. Again, I'll just left click the ticker symbol and hit the minus button now, and that will get rid of it. This is just kind of handy. Not all of us want to have to bring up our trading platform every time we want to look at charts, and some people do, and it's really cool either way. But this is just a really easy way. If you are, just want to have easy access, quickly go look at some stocks that you're following without having to log in to your trading account, can be an easy way to do that. There will be either live showing, there we are right now, or a replay of one of our YouTube shows in here, usually the halftime report, right? But of course, we're live here on YouTube right now. So there is us, kind of a little mini upcoming, event calendar. What's the next, couple days look like, where you are in any of the courses that you might be taking. So you can pick right back up where you left off. So just kind of a What's Up at Tackle Trading page. You will also find a link to tradingjustice.com in here. This will take you directly to tradingjustice.com. Each week, Matt, Tim, and Mark do the Trading Justice podcast. Again, you can listen to it directly over on tradingjustice.com, but you can also find it on all of the major podcast providers. Always a really good listen, very informative, and a heck of a lot of fun as well. Every week they do the Trading Justice podcast. There's also a fantastic monthly newsletter over on Trading Justice as well that is very much worth checking out each month. So this link right here will take you directly over to tradingjustice.com so you can get that information. There are also going to be some different trader tools in here. There's going to be the market Skyline. This is just going to kind of be a one-stop shop for all of the major charts, right? So the index charts, Bitcoin, the emerging markets, the major commodities, gold, silver, crude, copper, etc., and the sector spider ETFs. So we can kind of see, hey, what's going on in the world, right? What's going on, in the market? Where's the strength? Where's the weakness? Where's what appears to be the opportunities in the shorter term? So this is just kind of to get all of these charts in one place, right? You don't have to do this here, but these are all pretty important to the market. Definitely think that it's a good idea to have this in our routine. One option is directly doing it right here in the Trade Center. There's also a link to a FinViz heat map. If you just smack that, that'll take you to finviz.com to their heat map, just so we can get that quick visual. This is the S&P 500 for today, although there is a lot of customization that you can do on this free scanner if you'd like to. Just a visual what happened. Good day for healthcare, right? Healthcare really stands out, really bright green, kind of a rough day for some of the huge names over, in the Tesla and Amazon space, right? Another rough day for the semiconductors, right? So just a visual. Hey, what did today look like? What areas might have stood out? Wow, I'm seeing a lot of green in healthcare. Let's go take a look at some healthcare stocks, and just as an example, of course, this is a free FinViz, so you will have to deal with some ads unless you are a member of FinViz, but that is okay. You can always click them off. So that will be right here in the open heat maps. There's a link to a news aggregator that'll go through several of the big financial sites, Wall Street Journal, the Times, CNBC, Market Watch will be somewhere in here as well. Just kind of gathers the headlines so we can easily just kind of scroll through if anything catches our attention. Hey, what's going on with you, Estee Lauder? Go click on it and I can read it. So just instead of having to bounce around through several different websites, just getting it all in one place so I can just kind of do a browse and click on the things that actually interest me instead of click aimlessly trying to find things. So that's the news aggregator. There's a link to the economic calendar, a link to our market report, which we've yet to talk to. They're up in here. We'll talk about them in a few. Another link to our trade journals. I'm going to come into the trade journals here. You can get the trade journals in one of two ways: in the trade center, in where we're at right now. And this is the way I always refer people to it. There's also in the drop down of the trade center menu, the trade journals here. But if you come into it this way, a couple cool things. One, there will be the video, right? If you need some help, journaling your trades is really important. Every trade you make is data if you let it be. And if we're trading things from a systems perspective, if I'm doing something clearly defined and I do it 10 times, probably some will work, probably some won't, but what's the end result? Now, if I did it 100 times, right? And so if I have this information, I would be able to make targeted changes. Oh, I'm being a little too aggressive on my stop loss movement. I need to stop that. Not on this one trade. This one trade was whatever, right? But I've made 100 high base breakout trades and I got stopped out on 54 of them, and 22 of those 54, if I would have been a little looser with my stop, I would have had a winner instead of a loser. Well, that's pretty darn important information for me since those are my trades, right? By having a journal, I'll be able to recognize that and rectify the situation. I'll be able to identify what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. And even if I can't figure out why I'm not doing well on a particular, strategy or setup or whatever, at least I can say, wow, I'm not very good at this. I'm going to stop doing it until I can figure out what it is. Maybe I can figure out what it is right away, right? So it's a very, very handy tool. The video will take you through how to use it. Fairly straightforward if you're pretty comfortable with spreadsheets. I am not a spreadsheet guy, so it was helpful to me when I first started. I had used a Word document for my trade journal for a long time, and I was very resistant to, to go into the spreadsheet because I'm not a spreadsheet guy. And so it was helpful to have a little bit of a walkthrough there. If we are come into it this way, we can just scroll down. This is the trade journal. The download will be right here for you. We also have the Theta Research Journal. And for some reason, this is a my computer thing. Sometimes it doesn't like to bring it up. I don't really know why. And a portfolio journal. Our Theta Research Journal is so we can build and prep and fairly compare our Theta trades, our covered calls, our credit spreads, and things like that. Our portfolio journal, so we can stay organized and on top of our overall portfolio. I mean, if we have 32 trades that we've built anywhere from 2 days ago to 2 months ago, we need, it's important to know, hey, where exactly are we, right? If we just have 1 or 2 trades, we probably know exactly where we are. In either case, you just select that, and your computer probably won't do this. Mine usually doesn't, but it's doing it today. The download will be just select the tab that you want and hit the download button, and that will get those journals downloaded for you. You will also find a link to the compounding gains calculator, a link to a chart if you ever need one, another link to our glossary, as well as the search function, which is also this little magnifying glass up here. The search function at Tackle Trading is pretty smart. So if you're looking for something, say you want more information on covered calls, just for example, just throw it in there, tell it to show you all the results, and you will probably find a lot of content, especially on a covered call. We're big on covered calls around here at one of the major cash flow strategies, right? From blogs to shows to conversations in our lounge. Very easy to find information on pretty much whatever you're looking for. It could be a great way. Never feel like you can't reach out to us if you're looking for something and can't find it. Send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. We're happy to help. But a lot of times the easiest way to do it is just go in the search, type what you're looking for, and you'll probably be pretty busy. So that's going to be the search function itself. We do a morning email, our Tackle Today email, each market morning. If you would like to get that, just click on Tackle Today. You can sign up for the daily email in here. We also post the daily email in this page as well. It will get to your inbox faster. But if for whatever reason you'd prefer to read the Tackle Today, directly on Tackle Trading instead of getting it in an email, you can do that in here as well. Our Clubhouse is kind of our own personal social media. While we do have a presence on the traditional social media platforms, our Clubhouse is our own place. It's just us. It's just trading. It's a place where, you can ask questions, bounce ideas around with other traders, share what's going on, all of that fun stuff. So certainly invite you to join us over in the clubhouse as well. So that's going to kind of cover that first of those three areas that we wanted to talk about tonight, things that you can do on your own, whether it's courses, some of the tools over in the trade center, the journals, whatever it might be. Lots to keep you occupied on that side of things. Now let's kind of shift into our weekly schedule and kind of let you know what's going on here and when it's going on. Hop over into the shows tab here. Let's start kind of with the Monday through Friday, the market days, right? Every market day at 11 a.m. Eastern, we get together in our Traders Lounge for an hour. Our Traders Lounge is designed so our pro members can get in and ask the questions that they have. So we can very specifically answer questions that are important to you. Whether that's, hey, I've got a trade, I need some management ideas. Whether that, hey, I've got a setup. What does the crew, what do people think about this chart setup? Whether it's, hey, I really can't wrap my head around this darn bull call spread. Could you walk me through it from the beginning to the end, going through the whole process? Who knows what your questions will be? If you knew, they wouldn't be questions, right? But we do need to have a place where we can very specifically focus exclusively on our team members' questions, and that is the Traders Lounge every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. This is not going to be regularly recorded because, quite frankly, no one's going to go watch the Traders Lounge from June 17th of 2019, right? But what we can and will do is record snippets fairly regularly and get them placed in here for you as well. If your schedule is such that you can just never make it to the lounge, if you're at work at 11 a.m. Eastern, for example, and you have a question, send us an email. Let us know, hey, guys, I know I've got a question. I can't make it to the lounge. I'm at work, but would you mind talking about this? Absolutely. We'd be more than happy to. We can get it snipped and we can get it posted in here for you. So we always do our best to accommodate our team members. So if that's your situation, don't feel like you can't reach out to us. It's not a huge deal to hit the record button and to get that posted in here for you. So that's the lounge every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. That'll go for an hour. Then, of course, shortly thereafter at 12:30, we'll head over to our YouTube channel for the Tackle Trading Halftime Report. That's where we're really focusing on the daily routine. Hey, what's going on in the market today? What's the stories that are moving the market today? How is it impacting our charts? How do the different components of the market look, from gold to oil to Bitcoin to the S&P 500, stocks in the news, really to kind of follow along and stay on top of the market. That's live on YouTube at 12:30 each market day, 12:30 Eastern, I should say. Being on YouTube, of course, once the live stream is over, it does automatically, of course, post that to our channel. So every market day, we will be here hanging out with our team, whether it's in the lounge where we're answering your questions or over on YouTube at the halftime report where we're going through that daily routine and bouncing ideas around with one another. We'll be going through the trenches with our team members in the market each and every day that the market's open. So if the market's open, you can expect that the lounge and the halftime report are going to be rocking and rolling that day as well. Then we have our evening schedule. On Monday nights, I do this onboarding webinar, just, kind of walking through anybody new to the site or maybe checking us out for the first time that wanted a little more information about what we're about and what we're doing here before they, made a decision one way or the other. So that's what I'm doing here on Monday nights at 7 Eastern time. On Tuesdays, we do our coaches show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I would probably say this is our flagship show. This is where we can get together and, we're a couple days into the market, right? It's Tuesday night. We can talk about, hey, what's standing out in the market? Is there any, areas that are maybe set up nicely, whether it's from a bullish or a bearish perspective? So we can do an overview of the market a couple days into the trading week. We also can take one of the many, many topics that's available to us when you're talking about trading. There's a million things we could talk about, right? Moving averages, stochastics, other indicators, strategies. Why would I do a bull call instead of a bull call diagonal? Why would I do why would I buy the stock instead of buy the call option? To portfolio design, to daily routine. I mean, there's different setups. Hey, trading breakouts, trading flags. I mean, there's a million things that we can talk about. What's really cool about the coaches show is allows us to take one of those many, many concepts and have an in-depth conversation on that. Give it the time that the topic deserves. We'll be doing that every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. This show is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live, or if you need to rewatch, you can easily just hop back in here and watch as many old episodes or at a more convenient time. Certainly love to have you live, but we also understand that schedules are schedules. So that's Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the Coaches Show. On Wednesday night, we are doing a couple of things here on YouTube at 7 Eastern. I'm going to come over into our events calendar here really quickly. Here on YouTube at 7 Eastern, we do our Trade Masters webinar, where we have a couple of the coaches get together, bring some trade ideas, and we have usually Coach Mark moderate. And after everybody, each coach has shared 5 trade ideas, Coach Mark declares a victor and a champion for the week. But really what it is, it's a place where we can get together with other traders, talk about some setups and some trade ideas that we have, bounce them around with one another. Just a fun way to be able to talk some trading with members of the team. So that's live here on YouTube. That's our Trade Masters webinar live on YouTube at 7 Eastern. And then shortly thereafter at 8:30 Eastern, we're going to, over here at Tackle Trading, we're going to have our Traders Lounge Labs edition. And that is where we're going to answer any questions on the trade setups or the ideas behind them that we talked about in the Trade Masters webinar. So, hey, like that setup there, what would a bull call look like? What would a long call look like? What would this look like? So we can really answer any of our team members' questions on any of the setups that we discussed in that Trade Masters webinar. So that's going to be at 8:30 here on Tackle Trading, 7 Eastern here on YouTube for our Trade Masters webinar. So that's what we're doing on Wednesday night. On Thursday night, we're doing our Cash Flow Club again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's usually generally our evening schedule, although there's a couple, sometimes it'll be a little different, but for the most part, it's usually 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Our Cash Flow Club is going to be a lot more narrowly focused, exclusive on those cash flow strategies, right? Those covered calls, those credit spreads, those condors, those naked puts, building and managing those cash flow trades. We are, I think, as a community as a whole, I think we are a big cash flow community. I think, just fundamentally, I'm sure there's, some of us here at Tackle Trading who don't do any cash flow trading, but I would say the vast majority of us do at least incorporate some into our trading. Our Cash Flow Club really allows us to focus exclusively on those strategies and building and managing those type of strategies. Just like the Coaches Show, that'll be recorded and archived, so you can always go back and rewatch, this week's episode, last month's episode, watch it on Sunday morning when you have time and you're not stressed out, whatever the case might be. So that's Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for our Cash Flow Club. Our Mind of a Trader is really, it's 2 things. And so I'm glad I'm in the events calendar in here. And that's going to be the easiest way to get into that. Where are we at here? We're on the 3rd here. So where's Friday at? There we go. So on Fridays at about an hour before the market closes, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Coach Mark does his At the Closing Bell webinar. In that webinar, he does his commodity report live with our team, as well as just kind of talk shop, talks, setups, decision-making to close out the week, ideas going into early next week, just another place to come hang out, bounce ideas, ask questions, get some ideas as far as what Coach Mark is looking at going into the upcoming week. And that's on Fridays. That's the Closing Bell Mind of a Trader. And then on Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern time, he also does a weekend prep class. The futures market have been open for a little while on Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern, right? So based off of kind of what we're seeing on the futures, anything standing out going into early in the week, again, can be a place to ask questions. Maybe your schedule, you never can join anything live during the week, but maybe you can on Sunday nights and get your questions answered. So just another way that prep for the upcoming week and answer our team members' questions. So that's our Mind of a Trader webinar. Again, that's Friday at 3 Eastern time for the Closing Bell, and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time for the weekend prep class. And the easiest way to get into these is going to be right here in the events calendar. I know the Mind of a Trader can be a little confusing because it's 2 things. So maybe we'll change one of their names. I don't know. We also have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading, and they'll get together about once a month. They just did one this past week, in their women in trading mastermind group. I'm not a woman in trading. I never get to go, but it is, about once a month, and it tends to be towards the end of the month. As a general rule, as what it seems like, we'll of course highlight and make sure everybody's aware of it as we get closer and closer to the event. Coach M and the awesome females of tackle trading, I'm sure they have a great time in there. I know they're getting some good work done. If you're a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, I definitely spend a little bit of time hooking up with the awesome gals of tackle trading. Very much worth your time. I'll never know for sure what goes on, and there'll always be a little wonder exactly what happens, but I know our team. I know they're in there having a good time and getting some good work done. So that tends to be once a month towards the end of the month. But again, we'll highlight that as we get closer and closer to that event. So that's what our schedule is going to look like. Kind of maybe an easy way, at least maybe for me, it's easy at least to kind of remember it is the lounge is so we can answer our team's specific questions, whatever they might be. Our halftime report is so we can go through that daily routine. And then our evening shows is where we can, spend a lot of time teaching and going in deep into these different concepts and strategies. That's kind of the way I think about it, at least, is the lounge is for questions, the halftime report is for routine, and the evening shows are for teaching. Maybe that's oversimplifying a little bit, but that's always helped me keep it organized. So that's going to be the schedule. We are, as you can notice, we're pretty regimented, every day, and every week we are pretty consistent. Once in a while there's some weird holiday stuff that gets us and all that, but that gets everybody right. But we are pretty consistent in the routine, and then you'll probably get to know us pretty quickly. But an easy way to, hey, when was this show again? Oh, okay, it was Tuesdays. How do I get into it? Easy way is just going to be in this events calendar here in the Trade Center itself. So that's going to be the schedule. Now let's kind of talk about that third component, and that's going to be our weekend reports. What we're doing here on Fridays at Tackle Trading is, as coaches, we all get together and talk about the market, talk about the different components of the market, talk sectors, talk commodities, talk currencies, talk trade setups that we're following going into the upcoming week. And out of that meeting, we call that our scouting report meeting, comes our reports, the tackle newsletter, the stock, options, commodity, and forex report. We'll get these to our team by Saturday afternoon, so they have plenty of time to get through any or all of them before the market opens back up. The newsletter is our look ahead to next week in the market, right? Taking that top-down approach. Once again, that's kind of where we start here at Tackle Trading. What's the storyline? What's on the market's mind right now, right? What are the storylines that are moving the market as of right now? What does the economic calendar look like coming up this upcoming week? What about the earnings calendar? What do we got on deck for earnings coming up this week? Of course, we'll always have a video kind of talking you through this stuff. Where's the S&P 500? How are we seeing it? Where do we have support and resistance? What are we kind of watching going into the upcoming week? The ETFs that track the indexes are in here if you ever need them. DIA tracks the Dow Jones, QQQ tracks the NASDAQ, IWM tracks the Russell, and of course SPY tracks the S&P 500. Coach Gino's Arkham high-low indicator, what this guy does is he looks at the internals of the market, looks at over 8,000 stocks to see, who's putting in new highs versus who's putting in new lows, right? So we're really taking a deep look at the internals of the market. All right. So, well, if there's only 10 stocks doing well, but the market's up, that's not showing as much bull sentiment as if 90% of those 8,000 stocks are, right? So it's just helping us gauge the sentiment of the move that we're seeing in the market, as well as that where that Arkham high low is going into the week. The seasonality chart will be in here. Hey, historically speaking, what does the market tend to do this time of year, right? Obviously, we don't want to overvalue historical data, but it can be helpful, right? This looks an awful lot like in April, right? Historically, April's pretty good. This April that we just got out of was pretty darn good April, right? Historically, we're getting into the summer sideways action, right? Go back, a lot of movement, but go nowhere. Will that happen again? I don't know, but I'm not going to be surprised if it does, because from a seasonality perspective, that's what's most likely to happen, right? Back and forth, back and forth. Don't get too crazy one way or the other. Again, just information that's nice to have. I'm not going to plan my whole summer based on going sideways. I'm just going to sell some condors and take it off. But I am going to take that into consideration as I'm watching trades develop and the patterns develop. Same with the sectors. Hey, what sectors tend to do the best this time of year, and relatively speaking to the other sectors, and which ones are relatively speaking the worst? May historically, staples and healthcare are the strongest sectors, and our friends over in financials and discretionary, historically speaking, tend to be the weakest. Doesn't mean that that'll happen again this week, even if it's or this month, even if it's spot on. Doesn't mean Excel, the finance, for example, has to tank or anything like that. Again, just more historical data for us to consider. Our rankings for the sector each week, we're going to rank the sectors based off what we're seeing on the components of those sectors, particularly those sector spider ETFs. Kind of let you know where we're at, what we're liking more than last week, about the same as last week, less than last week, what we're bullish or bearish on. As you can kind of see here, we do a football field here, between the 40s is, neutral, not a lot of directional price action, or clarity, type of a deal. +1, slightly bullish, slightly bearish for -1, 2 or -2, bearish or bullish, just normal. It's going to be very, very, very rare that we're going to put anything from a broad market perspective in super aggressive +or -3 territory. It's happened a very, very select few of times as far as I'm aware. I've never done it personally, probably never will. Whereas there's plenty of times where I'm a +3 on a stock. I really like this stock. I really like this setup. I'm never personally going to say that about a whole sector or a whole index. For better or worse, for right or wrong, that's not who I am. And that's not really who we are at Tackle Trading either. We're just not that extreme. So kind of think about it on football field, right? As we get into into the 40 and between that 40 and 20, if you're a football fan, I mean, hey, we're only a few yards away from at least a field goal attempt, right? So we're in scoring position as we get into the red zone. Well, wow, as long as our field goal kicker doesn't completely botch it, we're probably at least walking away with 3 points here, right? Unless our quarterback throws an interception. So we'll, of course, explain these rankings in the video so you have a better idea of kind of why we've come to these conclusions as well. You'll find the sector spider ETFs if you need them. That's kind of what we're gauging our rankings off. If you're unfamiliar with the sector spiders, what they do is we go into the S&P 500, we pull out just the stocks in that area. XLI, for example, is the industrial sector. XLV, for example, is the healthcare sector. So we go into the S&P 500, we pull out just the stocks in that area, and we put them into a portfolio. And that's what we're looking at here. So I'm taking an isolated look at healthcare versus, say, an isolated look at technology. I don't know about you, but I would much rather have been in healthcare today than tech today, right? If I had my choice, odds are my healthcare stocks fared better than my tech stocks, right? It's helping us know what's going on today, what's going on overall, what's the pattern within that space. Very helpful. Of course, these are ETFs. And if you want to learn more about the ETF, you can go to the ETF provider's homepage, which is just www.sectorspdr.com. That's where that's the provider of the ETFs. I'll have lots of information if you want to get to know that. We'll have a little bit of a write-up in here as well, because these are weighted like the S&P 500. So it's not everything's going to be equal in there, right? The bigger companies have more representation. Some sectors have big companies, a lot more big companies than others. And so kind of let you know kind of how these are weighted in there. There's a friendly reminder to match the strategy to the market conditions, right? Match the strategy to your view of the situation. There's a pre-built scanner in here as well. If you say, wow, I like healthcare, I want to see if there's anything out there, don't have any in my watch list. This is just a pre-built scanner of what I call trader-friendly stocks. And all I mean by that is these stocks have lots of liquidity, so it's very easy to trade the shares of these stocks. They're all optionable. Sometimes the options are going to be a little tricky to trade. If you don't know how to do that, you'll learn in that Options 101 course. So I may not be able to put together an option trade, but I would say as a whole, I can, if that's the route that I want to go. I can definitely put together something, though, whether it's through an equity trade or through an option trade or the option of both, and I'll just choose what I think fits me best right now. It should be pretty easy if something stands out. If I want to put a trade on one of these stocks, it should be pretty easy for me to find a way to make that happen. I guess that's what I mean when I say trader friendly. Just a few side by side charts, right? We can kind of see what's going on here. You got Johnson and Johnson, a little bit of a triple top maybe developing, right? You got UNH breaking into all time highs. Big up day on Pfizer. right? Breakout on Abby V. Obviously, I don't know about you, but I could never make a trade off these little tiny charts, but I can say, you know what? That's interesting. Let's go take a closer look at it. If you click on the stock, say MDT caught your attention here, and you kind of like this little high base that might be forming here. Again, I wouldn't try to put the trade together on this, but I can take a much closer look. It's a lot easier for me to see it at least. And I say, you know what? Yeah, that's worth going in and actually looking at it in my charting platform and see if there's something there. And if not, no big deal, right? I'll hit back to screener. That'll just take me back to the page. Just an easy way for me to quickly scroll through a bunch of stocks in an area that's caught my attention, see if there's anything shaping up technically, give me a helping hand, kind of guiding me, if you will. So we'll have that for all of the different sectors, of course, here in these pre-built scans. So that is going to be the newsletter, taking the tackle trading approach of starting at the top of the market and working our way down, right? While overly simplified, we want to go with the flow, right? We want to trade with the strength of the, if we're bulls, and the weakness if we're bears, right? And the neutrality if we're, just being, neutral or cash flow, right? We kind of want to go with the flow. In addition to the newsletter, we'll have the stock option, commodity, and Forex report. Coach Cody does the Forex report for us, typically does a great job highlighting, the setups, in the major currency pairs going into the upcoming week, talking about, any news and stuff that might be, worth keeping an eye on that could impact those currencies. Does a lot of teaching in there as well, helping people, kind of go from, okay, what exactly is Forex to actually trading Forex. He does a really good job helping our team, if they are interested in trading Forex, making that transition from I've never, done anything with it to, okay, I'm trading it live. Awesome job that he does each and every week for us. As I mentioned earlier, Coach Mark does our commodity report. He does that live on his Friday Mind of a Trader. It's also going to be in here, of course. If you can't make it live, it'll be recorded and put here in the commodity report. He's going to talk about, what's going on in the world of commodities, both from a technical and a fundamental perspective, how he's approaching them, all of that good stuff. Mark's the commodity guy for sure. Then our stock and option report are going to be built fairly similar to one another. These are going to be some swing trade candidates going into the upcoming week. They're going to focus, on what their name would suggest, right? So things the stock report are more tailored towards trading stock on. And that might just be because there's not a lot of great option liquidity. That might be why it's a good stock trade. The setup's great, but the option liquidity is poor, but the stock, the equity liquidity is perfectly reasonable. Option report, same type of candidates, but maybe a little more tailored towards option strategies. Maybe it's price of the stock, maybe it's the volatility of the options. But they're going to be built fairly similar to one another. Hop over here into the option report here. Each week, we're going to put together a list of potential bullish trading candidates. And again, stock report will be very, very similar, just be more tailored towards stock trades versus option trades, and a potential bearish watch list based on the technicals going into the week. So you have some quality trade setups each week in areas that you like to trade. There is going to be a little bit of bleed over. And what I mean by that is, if I like something in the options report, but I just want to trade stock on it, that's not an issue. It can be fine. There's going to be plenty of liquidity on the stock if there's plenty of liquidity on the options. So you can always trade something in the option report with stock if that is your preference. On the other side of it, in the stock report, like I said earlier, that they might just be there because the option liquidity is poor, and we wouldn't trade options on them. And if that's the case, fair enough. I'm not going to get stuck. Never again. I've been stuck in an illiquid option trade before. It's no fun. It ain't going to happen again. Not on my watch. But there are going to be other times where there's, plenty of liquidity on the options. And we just felt it was, made more sense on the stock report, but maybe you look at it, say, hey, listen, I like this setup. I like the liquidity options. I know it's in the stock report, but I'm going to play options on it. It's not a problem there. So kind of the rule of thumb is, you can always trade things in the option report with stock. You can sometimes trade things in the stock report with options, but you do always want to double check that liquidity, right? You don't want to get stuck in a liquid option. If you've done it, it's no fun. If you haven't done it, ask somebody who has. They'll all say the same thing. It's no fun. So we'll, in the stock report, we can talk a little bit more about the technicals, right? In the option report, we're going to talk about both the technicals and the strategy selection. right? This might be a good candidate for a poor boy covered call. This might be a good candidate for an out of the money credit spread. This might be a good candidate with low volatility just to buy a call option, right? So we're going to talk a lot about strategy selection in the option report. In the stock report, we're just talking stock, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit more generally speaking on the technicals in the stock report. The technicals are going to be the same though, right? A good trade setup's a good trade setup. Either it is or it isn't, right? And think about trading from that perspective. Hey, this is a good setup. Okay, AEM, just a little gold miner, right? It's a good setup. It's had a pullback. I want to trade it. No one cares but me how I want to trade it, right? I might just want to go buy the stock because I like trading stock. All things being equal, I prefer to trade the stock for my swing trades personally, but they're not always equal, right? Okay, well, maybe I'll buy a call option. Maybe I'll do a bull call. Maybe I'll do a bull call diagonal. Maybe I'll scale in to a bull call, right? How I trade it is kind of a me thing, right? I'm trading the setup. So we're going to be focused on the setups for everything that are going to be in here in our stock and our options report, regardless of the vehicle that, I would choose to trade them, if that makes any sense. A couple of quick things about these trading view charts that are built in to our newsletter, to our report, to our trade center. If you want to hide the watch list, this guy right here, just left click it. That'll hide it and give you some more chart. Hit it again, it'll bring it back. If you want to change the time frame, it's going to be set up on a daily chart, but this will drop down here. If you wanted to change it to a weekly, hey, what does the weekly chart look like? Okay, looking pretty strong. What does the hourly chart look like? Oh, a little pullback, right? So you can change your time frame here. If you prefer bar chart to candlesticks, most traders, use candlesticks. Definitely most of us at tackle trading, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who still likes bar charts. You can change that. If you want to add an indicator, that's going to be right here. Do note that this is not going to save. So I just added the ATR here. If I leave this page and come back, this is going to be gone. So if you add a bunch of indicators, that's fine, but do be aware that they're going to be gone when you leave the page. Once I add an indicator, I can just hover my mouse between this little wall between the volume and the indicator, hold the left mouse button down, and I can zoom it up or down as I see fit. You can also, hold your left mouse button down. You can do this. You can scroll your mouse up and down. You can do this. You can left click down on the dollars. You can do this. So you can basically get the chart set up to where, you like it. Okay, now I can see it clearly, right? Type of stuff. So that's how you can kind of move your charts, add your indicators. Your trend line tool is this one right here. This little guy right here actually kind of looks like a trend line. You can either do, horizontal. Hey, there's a breakout there on new core. You can do trend line if it's applicable. All right, okay, came into the trend line, took a little artistic liberty there, but you can kind of see what I'm going for. So our trend line tool is going to be right there. If you want to delete them, just left click it, and the trash button, that'll get rid of that for you. This guy right here, this prediction and measurement tool is where you can find your long or your short position. So let's say we're interested in maybe putting together a trade or thinking about a trade on Nucor here. Obviously, it's on the bullish side of things. Maybe, I kind of got an idea. I'm going to get in if it goes above today's high. I'm going to put my stop loss, below that, Thursday low. That's where I'd like to put my stop loss. Maybe you'd like to put your stop loss below today's low instead. And I got a target price. I think we're heading to 100 here on Nucor. What does this look like? Well, based off of this parameter, right, I'm risking $1 to get $2.84. So I can see exactly what my risk to reward ratio is, see if it's something I'd be comfortable with, get an idea of what my position side's going to need to look like. It is really helpful. It has saved me a tremendous amount of time. I'm a huge fan of these because I'm not a great mathematician, I guess, is a good way to do it. So again, maybe we're looking at a snow reversal breakout. Obviously, didn't happen today, may not ever happen, right? But if we ever do break this resistance, oops, zoom that over here, that's where I'd get in. I've got a target price in mind of X, and I can kind of, even though I'm doing a little, I don't know where my stop loss would be today. I probably don't have to worry about this tomorrow, right? But I can get an idea if my idea is, I had a target of 270 in mind. I can get an idea of, okay, well, my stop loss could be, I have a 2-to-1 rule like so many other traders. it could be down as low as this. Maybe it won't need to, right? Maybe I'll create a new level of support on, throughout the week, and that's where my stop loss placement would go. But I can get an idea of what that's going to look like. So it is a very handy tool. Of course, there's going to be that for both the bullish and the short side as well. So just a couple of things about these trading view charts, since you are going to see them. Again, we'll have the video talking you through the technicals, talking you through strategy selection and the options report. We also will do some teaching, right? This week in the report, Coach Ty, answered a question from one of our team members over in the clubhouse, about ways to manage a winning call option. Sure, we can sell it and lock in profits. That's great. That's a good situation to be in. But what else could we do, right? So he talked about different ways to manage a profitable long call. Coach Greg over in the stock report talked about dealing with earnings. We'll always, take some time and do a little bit of teaching in here as well. Again, you can expect all of these by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to go through any that you're using, or all of them, as before the market opens back up. So that's going to be our weekend reports. We will collectively call them scouting reports a lot here at Tackle Trading. And so if we ever do say, hey, check the scouting report, that's all that we mean, right? It's just, hey, you like options. Well, I like commodities, right? So that's going to be the reports. As I mentioned earlier, we are active on all of the traditional social medias. Obviously, we're here on YouTube right now. We do a lot of live streams. We have the halftime report every market day. We have the Monday night onboarding webinar. We have the Wednesday night Trade Masters webinar. We also have a lot of other stuff on our YouTube channel as well. A lot of how-tos, a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of what are's, an entire playlist on Thinkorswim tutorials. And we're always adding more. So we are certainly active on our YouTube channel. We do have a presence over on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're a Facebook user, we do have a Tackle Trading Facebook group over there. I'm not a Facebook guy. I'm a Twitter guy. Over on Twitter, we can share ideas. If an interesting chart shows up, I can take a quick picture of it, throw it up on the Tackle Trading Twitter, whether I find it, another coach finds it, you find it, whatever it might be, stocks in the news, upcoming earnings, things like that, what's going on here at Tackle Trading. So, I certainly invite you to join us. If you're using any of these social media platforms, certainly invite you to join us. I certainly understand. If you don't want to, I'm never going to use Facebook. Lord knows folks have made me try. You're just never going to see me over there. But hey, I don't mind Twitter. It's a great way to keep up with Team Tackle. So I'm cool with it. Right, so if you're using any of those social media platforms, I certainly invite you to join us in whichever one it might be. Let's see here as we get wrapping up here this evening. I hope this helped. I hope this let you know kind of what we're doing here at Tackle Trading, gave you an idea of kind of who we are as a team and as a community. If you are not yet a pro member and would like to, we all have a standing offer of a 15-day free trial. You can always come check us out, hang out with us a little bit, see what we're about, see if it's a good fit. That'll be linked in the description of this or any Tackle Trading video. So certainly if you've been thinking about maybe taking a look at Tackle Trading, 15-day free trial is available to you. And we certainly more than welcome you. If you let Mark know that Frank sent you, maybe you can talk him into giving you a couple of extra days. If you send Mark an email, team at Tackle Trading, and say, hey, I just hung out with Frank or saw Frank over on YouTube. Think about doing the free trial. Can hook me up with a couple extra days. I can't speak for Mark, but you might be able to. So always worth a try, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure, and I thank you so much for your time this evening. Or later in the week when you are catching this video. It's been my pleasure walking you through Tackle Trading. Certainly welcome you to the team. I'm glad that you're here. Hope to see you around, whether it's our shows, Twitter, YouTube, Clubhouse, wherever. I'm not a hard dude to find, and I'm always happy to help. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. That's what we're here for. So don't be shy. If you have some questions, if you need something, holler at us. We are more than happy to accommodate you. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've kept you. I'll let you get out of here today, but thank you so much for your time. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for checking out Tackle Trading. Welcome to the team. It's great to have you here with us. I'm sure I'll be seeing you in one way, shape, or form in the not too distant future. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you.